This was not good. This was not good, but what a valuable lesson learned. I guess I'm lucky I didn't lose any more money than I did. Come along, we're gonna talk a little bit about this. In case you guys don't know, I was partners in an airplane that, and I was learning how to fly. I was getting my pilot's license, and yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the affordability of it all, and buyer beware, and also partner beware on partnering up with some guys on an airplane. There's only one guy in particular that's been a problem, and I want your opinion on this. This is not cool, not good at all. I'm done with that airplane. Done. About last August, I bought into a partnership, and last August I started taking flying lessons. I think it was August, may have been June or July. I started taking flying lessons, and I was renting an airplane to learn how to fly. Now, airplane rental can cost anywhere from 180 bucks an hour, which was on the very, very cheap end, to 300 bucks an hour, which is on the higher end. Average is probably gonna be about 220 bucks an hour, and I found a guy that would teach me for 60 bucks an hour. And if I bought 10 hours worth of flying lessons, he would give me 11 hours of flight, which was very cool. And I could rent the plane for 1,800 bucks for 11 hours. In other words, it's 180 bucks an hour, but if I bought 10 hours, I got a free hour. Super cool. All right. Well, while I was learning how to fly, and while I was flying this other plane, which is what we'll refer to it as 85 Mike. That's the plane, 85 Mike. I ran across a guy that flies out of the same airport, and his name was Mike. Very, very nice fella. I mountain biked with him. I've known him for years and years, and he was partners on an airplane that I didn't even know about over there in the hangar at the same airport. Awesome, awesome. Mike said, hey man, we just lost a partner. We're looking for another partner on our airplane. Do you want to join us? Well, yeah, that would be awesome, man. That would be very, very cool. Well, the plane's in the shop right now. If you join us, it's going to be $22,500, and the plane's got some upgrades going on. So when you join us, we're going to upgrade the plane. So we recovered the front seats, and we're putting avionics in it. And the avionics were, somewhere around $18,000 worth of avionics. And if you guys don't know, avionics are super expensive. You can spend $150,000 on a small plane that's not even worth that in avionics. All right. That being said, we've upgraded the plane about $20,000 at that point. They bought a rear seat cover. I put a new cover on the rear seat, pulled out the old seat, cleaned it up, put it all back together, put new upholstery over top of it, new foam, new everything, and dressed that up, bringing the value of the plane up again. The last time I flew the plane was August the 28th of 2025, end of August-ish. Of 2025, it went into annual, and what they have to do, have to go through the plane and do an annual inspection. This annual inspection, depending on the complexity of your plane, is probably at a minimum of 2,000 bucks to get that annual inspection done. They take everything apart, look at everything, check it all out, make sure everything's within spec, engines are good, compression, everything. We want this piece of equipment to be in tip-top shape all the time. Super cool. Spent the money, got the annual. Two of my partners went flying, and this, I do not blame them for this at all, although they probably should have flown the runway. They hit a deer. So they were doing some night landings. They went in for a landing at my local airport and got on the runway, and there was a deer, and it ran out and bam, hit it with the right wing. Hit the deer with the right wing, did not strike it with the prop, didn't hit it with the front of the plane, but damaged the plane significantly. It hit the right landing gear and it bent the wing. Probably did somewhere in the neighborhood of, well, the insurance claim was like 15 to 17,000 bucks. So this was covered under insurance. The plane has not flown since on or about the 20th of September of 2025. When you're watching this video, this plane has still not flown. So that's October, November, December, January, February, March is coming up here. That's 6 months of ownership of an airplane that's stuck on the ground for a repair that would have taken somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 hours, 10 to 15 hours of repair time. Once it's repaired, it has to be inspected by the FAA, and they have to say that it's okay to fly. In the meantime, and this is kind of a drawn out story, so let me layer it down for you. Bought the plane at $22,500 as a fourth owner of this plane. If we do the math at $22,500, I brought my calculator out here because I'm not good at math on camera, but 22.5 times 4, that's a value of $90,000. Once we upgraded the avionics, that's another $18,000-ish, the avionics, and let's just say the interior. About 108. The airplane is insured for about 123. So we've got the plane insured for a value of about 120. At 108, we divide that by 4, and my share is currently worth about $27,000 if we do the math. All right, well, let's keep on thinking about math, because I'm gonna tell you what happened here in a second, and you guys are you're gonna be angry about it. So the plane hasn't flown. About 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was approached by my partners that they want to bring another partner in. That's a number 5 in this, a number 5 in this airplane. Well, I bought a fourth of a share into the airplane. We determined already that the value of the plane is about $108,000, which is around $27,000. Okay, airplanes do not depreciate unless they are not airworthy. Let's go ahead and say that. Airplanes nowadays do not depreciate. The market's a little bit soft on them right now, but if you bought a Cessna back in 1984, it's probably worth 7 times what you paid for it. If I bought into this Piper, which this is a Piper Cherokee, if I buy into this plane, a year from now, it's going to be worth more. It's incrementally worth more. It's the only piece of equipment that I know that you can buy and it will appreciate, other than a Dodge Ram Cummins from the early 2000s, a second-gen Dodge, or an old Toyota pickup or something like that. So, once again, at the moment, my market share in this is $27,000. All right. Let's just forsake that. Let's just pretend that no upgrades had happened, and my market in this thing was $22,500. Again, $22,500 times 4, $90,000. That's what I'm into in my partnership. A fourth of a share of $90,000. Well, they want to bring in a 5th partner. Everybody wanted to bring in a 5th partner but me. I did not want to bring in a 5th partner, and I just basically said at that moment, I didn't want to be arguable about it. I just said, you know, I guess that's why we have partners. We put it to a vote. You guys won the vote. If you want to bring in another partner, that's fine. I don't want to go anywhere. Now, I said that at the moment, and this is where it gets a little iffy. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't ever see myself not being a partner in this plane until I start realizing and thinking to myself, Josh, you're kind of getting screwed over here. So if I've got a fourth of a plane that's worth $90,000 and we bring in a 5th person, does that dilute my share? Or does that mean that this plane is now worth more? So we've brought the value of the plane up to a little more because we replaced the entire interior while it was sitting in the shop and the windshield while it was sitting in the shop. So on that math, the 5th partner was coming in at $25,500. So if there are 5 people involved in the purchase of an aircraft and that person's paying $25,500, then that means $25,500 times 5, this airplane is worth $127,500, right? Well, I went in and I told them, I don't want to be a member of a 5th partner on this airplane. I want out. So this guy could just buy my share for the $25,500. So we had a meeting, and we were meeting the new guy that was going to buy in on the plane, and I just said, I'm out. He can buy my share at $25,500. This is where I found out who were my friends and who were the money grubbing part of this partnership. What was it all about? The original owner of the plane, let's just call him Ricky. We'll just say Ricky, is the original owner of the plane. He bought the airplane back in 1972, way back. Probably paid $12,000 for this airplane back in that day. Since then, the plane's been rebuilt, overhauled. The engine has been overhauled. The plane's been painted. The paint is absolutely horrible right now. So just prior to this, we had all talked about painting this plane. After the Deer repair, it would have had a white spot on it and then flaky, messy spots. In other words, we only painted one little section about this big on the airplane, and the rest of it looks old. It's gonna look like crap. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to fly around in something that looks like Sanford and Son. I want to fly around in something that I can be proud of. When I land at the airport, people won't think, oh, good gracious, that thing flies. I don't want that. So what I offered was, I gave them $7,000 towards my part, my fourth of getting this plane repainted. And whatever it costs, we divide it by 4 and we repaint the plane. Nobody else wanted to repaint the plane. They just want to fly. I want something that I can be proud of. I want to take care of my equipment, and that's part of taking care of my equipment, I think. Keeping it clean, keeping it dry, keeping it serviceable, keeping the engine right, and making it look pretty. So, that being said, when I asked to step aside and just let the other guy buy me out at $25,500, the answer was, at first they were in shock. The second answer was no. No, he can't buy you out. That's my deal. That's what the Ricky, we'll call him Ricky, the guy that bought the plane back in 1972 said to me. I said, what do you mean? I mean, it's just as simple as letting this fella buy out my share. Why won't you just let him buy my share? Nope, that's my deal. I got plans for that money. What? This is when I figured out that I didn't have a friend. I had somebody that was using each of his partners for all that he could milk them out of before they decided to leave. So what he decided to offer me was he just angrily told me, you're not getting that. You're not getting that. That's my money. And you're going to get $22,500, just what you put in, and that's all you're going to get, and you're going to be happy that you got that. Really? So in my math, if I owned a fourth of a plane that's worth $127,500, we're going to divide that by 4. I actually am owed $31,875 because that is my portion of 1/4 of this plane when it's sold for $25,500 as 1/5. In other words, at 1/5, it's $127,500. That's the value of the plane, but I own 1/4. I didn't agree to be cheated out of or cut short on any of it. So if we bring a 5th partner in, it either dilutes or it raises the value. Either the plane is worth $127,500, which bringing somebody in as a 5th partner at $27,500 means that that plane is worth $25,500. So I simply negotiated with them and I said, well, why don't you just give me 24, keep the $1,500 extra that's on there. Let's just split the difference. You bring the other partner in, just give me 24 and let me go out. Nope, we're not gonna do that. Josh, you'll be lucky to get the $22,500. What do you guys think about that? That's my money. That's what I heard. I thought we were in a partnership. The secondary portion of this is when we met to allow the 5th partner in, I asked that we set this up in an LLC. And I want you guys to think about this too. I don't know if you're business-minded people, but I'm a business-minded person. I have assets. I don't know what their assets are, but I do know if one of the partners on this thing, heaven forbid, crashes it and hurts somebody, or let's just say they crash into a school, or they crash into they crash land on a football field or something like that, and they harm some kids, or they crash into a nursing home parking lot and they hurt some people. What's going to happen? How much is that insurance going to cover before they start going after all the rest of the owner's assets? So I told them we need to get this airplane in an LLC so that if something happens, we don't get, all of us don't get sued for everything that we own. Didn't happen. That didn't happen. It still hasn't happened. It's not going to happen. So here's what I did, and I'll tell you guys, I just took I feel like, and you tell me, I feel like I took one on the chin this time. I feel like I did. I don't know what my other options are, but here's what I did. In order to just get out of this, I just let Ricky buy my share back at $22,500. And then the new guy came in and gave him $25,500. Is that right? Or should he just let me, I even offered to let him keep an extra $1,500. Let that guy buy my portion and I'll give you an extra $1,500 towards repairs or whatever that I might owe you. Do you think that that's the most reasonable thing? Is it the most reasonable thing for me to accept the $22,500 and bow down to his money, his deal? Or am I getting it? Am I taking one on the chin? Am I taking one on the chin for this? This is what you need to think about if you're deciding to become partners on something. I don't care if it's a race car, if it's a farm, if it's a business. All this stuff needs to be laid out verbatim initially. So that's the scenario that was presented to me. Two of the guys I have zero problem with. The one guy, Ricky, I think he's putting it to me. I think I'm taking one on the chin from him. What do you guys think? How much should I ask for? How much should I have asked for? Was 24 fair? Do you think 24 was fair? Should I have expected to just be able to sell my share to that other partner that was going to come in? It seems pretty reasonable that I could just do that. But on top of that, I offered him $1,500 extra off of that to put towards the plane. So I was trying to do that as a gesture of goodwill, and he was nothing but mean, hateful, angry, and bossy to me. And there's nothing really I could do about it because I was at the mercy of Ricky. What do y'all think? Should it be in an LLC? If you get into a partnership like this and you have assets, you want to protect them, shouldn't that be in an LLC? Shouldn't we be protecting everybody in the group equally? Is the value of the plane, if we got 5 partners and a new partner's coming in at 25.5, isn't it 5 times 25.5? Isn't that the value of the plane? Are these other guys taking a hit by bringing in that 5th partner? It's not 5 partners anymore, it's only 4 partners now because I left. I'm saving the other guys from taking a hit on their share. And when they get ready to get out of this partnership, I feel like they're gonna meet the same resistance that I met, which is horrible. They told me it's up to you to sell your part of the plane and we have to approve it. So look at that. If they didn't want me to leave, it was up to me to sell my 1/4 of the plane and they had to approve it all. So what could I ever get out of this? I think I got out unscathed. I think I took a little bit on the chin and I think I paid for a valuable lesson. Money makes people greedy. That's it. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you watching, listening to the story. I want you to give me your opinion down there. This was not good. This was not good, but what a valuable lesson learned. I guess I'm lucky I didn't lose any more money than I did. I got my $7,000 back that I gave them for doing the paint work that they didn't want to do. And I got my initial 22.5 out, and I've had a 6-month setback on trying to get my pilot's license. Should I even continue? I don't even know. It's an expensive hobby, but gosh, it's so fun, guys. It's so freeing to be able to just step off the farm, hop in the plane, and just fly off to the coast, go get some crab cakes. That's pretty neat. It's pretty fun, and it's relatively inexpensive when you look at the grand scheme of things. Thank you guys so much. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Love to have you back here on the Stoney Ridge Farm with me. I gotta go take care of them cows. See ya. Come on down to the Stoney Ridge. Bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life pure and sweet. That's the way it's supposed to be, Stoney Ridge. Put her down, Buford. She's sucking mud.